So Alabama, it all starts with the head coach, Nick Saban. Nick Saban, the best college football coach to ever do it. And it was interesting to see. I went back and listened to his spring press conference. He was super high on Justice Hayes, the running back, sounds like could challenge to get some playing time this year. Also got Jace McClellan. I like McClellan. I don't know how McClellan is. To say he's going to be like the next, with him getting likely the start of this year, to say he's going to be like the next Derrick Henry, or is he as good as some of the other Alabama backs? Probably not. But McClellan does have legitimate long speed. You see, actually, speaking of Texas, he had a long touchdown run against Texas. So yeah, the speed is apparent with McClellan, but his power, change of direction, some of that other stuff is just solid. I think McClellan, overall he is a good player. I just don't know if he is that game-changing type back like Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram was for Alabama. But, Chase McClellan, I think, is a nice player overall. But, yeah, when you look back and watch Justice Hayes in high school, I mean, this guy he has all the tools you want for an elite running back at the college level. I mean, legitimate long speed, burst, excellent change of direction, lateral movement. It's a guy who he seems like he's just really got a good feel for, where holes are going to open up, knows how to cut back. He had one play where he just had a super long run. He had like two guys with a pursuit angle, just makes a quick cut inside of him and scores. That was one play I was just like, wow, this guy has legitimate vision and change of direction. And can run with power, too. You see him run over defenders, too, on his highlights. So, yeah, I mean, Hayes is a dude. I think he's going to have a bright future ahead at Alabama, even if he doesn't really get his shot this year. Because you remember, Najee Harris came in as a freshman with a lot of hype, and he didn't really get a lot of playing time necessarily in year one. I think he was a little frustrated with it. But, Nick Saban, if it is closer, he does tend to go with the upperclassmen. So Justice Hayes, I'm excited to see what he has in store for this season. And when you get high praise from Nick Saban early, usually that's a really good thing, and that's a sign of things to come. And then they landed Trey Amos, a corner from Louisiana. Just wanted to touch on him. So I thought Terrion Arnold would be penciled in to start at the corner opposite of Kool-Aid McKinstry. But yeah, it seems like Trey Amos from Our Scouting. Obviously that's not the official depth chart, but they have Trey Amos projected to start. And I saw a quick highlight of Trey Amos. I'll be honest, I did not watch his tape in depth. But I'll say this about Amos. You do see the ball skills evident. He's a guy that looks like he's got some length. He is a physical tackler. So, yeah, Amos, I think this is a guy who will challenge for playing time, even if he doesn't win the starting job over Arnold at the corner 2 position. Because you gotta feel it's almost impossible for him to win the job over Kool-Aid. So I think this is a guy that even if he doesn't start at the corner 2 position, then you got to believe he's going to challenge for playing time and get some snaps at some point. Another guy I want to talk about, Malachi Moore. So Malachi Moore has been an interesting guy at Alabama. He came in 2020 and kind of burst onto the scene as a true freshman when they won the national title, and then since then he's been pretty good, but he just hasn't. Moore hasn't really developed into the star player that I thought he was going to be for the Crimson Tide. But I think he does have some upside. He's a guy that's played the star position. A guy that can play corner too if he wants. Looks like they're going to play him at free safety. He's a guy that can cover. He can tackle. He can make plays on the ball. So everything you want in a corner or safety, Malachi Moore has it. Except maybe not the biggest guy, but he will come up and make physical tackles, especially in the open field. So yeah, you gotta like Malachi Moore. He's a really good player for him. And and I'm sure Nick Saban talked about him a little bit. I'm sure he expects big things from him now in his 4th year as a senior and a true veteran on this team. But yeah, and then Dallas Turner. So Dallas Turner, I think the question mark is, can Dallas Turner be the guy? Dallas Turner, he had a really good year last year for him. You do kind of get Will Anderson vibes from Dallas Turner. He is just a truly a hustle I shouldn't just say just a hustle guy, but he is a guy that plays really hard, gets after it. He's got excellent pursuit. He's got a lean, muscular build, relentless motor, a guy that can win with speed. His power is pretty good. It doesn't wow me, but he is a guy that can go speed to power. But yeah, Dallas Turner is he's being discussed as one of the top edge rushers in college football. So yeah, can he live up to that billing as like the consensus number 2 edge rusher just behind Jared Verse? I think this season will be telling. But yeah, Alabama, losing Will Anderson, losing Byron Young. So the defensive line is a little bit of a question mark for Alabama. I know they got some guys that Justin Iobi, Tim Smith. They do have some guys that I think can play, but just kind of the depth and the overall talent, other than Dallas Turner, is a little bit question on the defensive line. You're going to have some new starters at linebacker. Deontay Lawson projected to start there. They lose Moody and Henry To'oTo'o. So, yeah, linebackers going to look a little bit different for Alabama, but I think they'll find guys that'll fill those holes nicely. But, yeah, the secondary you got to believe is a strength for Alabama, especially with getting Amos. Kool-Aid McKinstry is the best corner in college football. And then, yeah, Malachi Moore, like I touched on. So, and, yeah, Terrion Arnold, too. Terrion Arnold is another guy that played really well last year. So, yeah, the defense looks to be pretty strong. To me, I think it's J.C. Latham and Kool-Aid McKinstry, 2 of the big-time game changers for the Alabama defense, and I'd put a maybe next to Malachi Moore. But on offense, the big question mark is who's going to burst onto the scene at receiver. I think Ja'Cory Brooks is in the running for being that guy. Jermaine Burton is a guy I haven't forgot about. I like Jermaine Burton's skill set. He's just got to be a little bit more consistent. They landed a transfer, Malik Benson. He's one of the top JUCO guys. I think he's got a really good overall skill set. I think he does have some upside. Isaiah Bond is a guy who played pretty well last year, still a young guy. Nick Saban had high praise for Isaiah Bond, so I'm excited to see what he does. So, yeah, I mean, Kobe Prentice, too. So, yeah, I mean, the depth is there for Alabama. I think just, they set the bar way too high a couple years ago. I mean, it's not every year you're going to have Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith all on the same team. Henry Ruggs. I mean, you can't expect that every season, but Nick Saban, I think he does expect that's at least have 1 or 2 really good guys. Obviously you can't have 3, 4 elite superstars with an NFL skill set every year, but can we have a couple guys that we can rely on? That's really what cost him. Kind of in that 2021 national championship, you saw when Jamison Williams went down, it was they were kind of searching for another guy to step up, and the one guy, 84, he had some drops. I forget what his name is. He eventually transferred, but yeah, I mean they had another guy transfer. Was it Holden? Left. So, yeah, you saw a lot of the young guys they put in that national championship have moved on and transferred. Ja'Cory Brooks still remains. And, yeah, you're hoping maybe Prentice or Isaiah Bond takes another step. And then last year, yeah, they brought in Burton, who Burton flashed at the end a little bit. But like I said, he's just got to be a little bit more consistent. Yeah, and then the Bama offensive line, they lose Javion Cohen. He's going to transfer to Miami. No more Emil Ekiyor. But they do have J.C. Latham. I really like Latham's skill set. I think, him and Tyler Steen, who they also lose last year, Steen, the left tackle. Was Steen left or right tackle? But, yeah, Latham's going to be the guy this year. Latham just is, he is just a rock-solid tackle. He's good in pass protection. He's good at sustaining run blocks. He's got good size. He's a guy that was a legit big-time recruit coming out of high school. So, yeah, I really like what I've seen from J.C. Latham. He's a guy that I've watched quite a bit of tape for as I'm preparing for next season. I know he's going to be – right now I think he's the consensus number 3 offensive tackle. So, Yeah, the Alabama offensive line, I'm not super worried, even though they are replacing some pieces. I think you just gotta get a feel that J.C. Latham's going to be the anchor. They're going to find some. They've recruited well. They're going to find some younger guys that can play. But yeah, that is offensive line, another position. Tommy Brockmeyer was a high recruit. He's left. No more Javion Cohen, and then they lose Ekiyor, moved on to the NFL, and then For Alabama, quarterback is the big question. Is it Milroe? Is it Milroe or the other guys? Buckner from Notre Dame. I got to believe it's going to be Milroe just because of the upside he has athletically. You see Nick Saban not as conservative anymore. He does I think now he's kind of gravitated toward having a guy who's got some upside. So I think it's going to be Jalen Milroe, but I guess we will see here. Still have some time to make a decision. I think it's going to be a battle that probably lasts pretty long into fall camp. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, Alabama, Latham. So maybe Justice Hayes. I'd say Latham, Kool-Aid, Malachi Moore, some of their high-end difference makers, and we'll see who else emerges at wide receiver, and then who wins the quarterback job is the big question mark for Alabama. And can they get back to the playoff this year? And if they do meet Georgia in the SEC title game, how will that go down? That was one thing I was interested to see, what Alabama could have done if they were in that national championship game as opposed to TCU. Obviously, it would have been a little bit closer, but could Alabama have went toe-to-toe with Georgia once again this year? I think so, just because they match up with them at the line of scrimmage. Do they win? Probably not, but I think it would have been a lot closer game, likely a fourth quarter game, and it would have, you never know. Something could have went Alabama's way, but I guess we'll never know. Georgia, 2022 national champions, and so I just wanted to touch on that with Alabama. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Brand Partial Show. Make sure to stay tuned for more episodes and clips from the show. Till next time, peace.